Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about projects, starting a project, how to go about it, what you need to sort of think about when you're starting a project, and a couple of hints and tips on how I do it, and if that helps then you can use them. So grab a brew, get comfortable, and let's get chatting. Hey, so I got this in the post. It is my Blood Angel project, and obviously if you've had my update video on the Howling Griffins, you know that at some point in the very near future this is going to be my main army, and I would want to start the documentation of how that's going to happen. But first things first, like starting an army project. Now, a lot of the information that I'm going to come into this is obviously from my perspective, how I want to do it, and how I sort of look at it, and sort of how I will plan and go ahead doing this type of thing. Because one, I'm not the fastest of painters in the world. Two, I want to paint to a certain standard, so obviously that's going to take time. And three, I'm not slap chopping it. Now, if you are going to be one of these people who are literally just going to buy your models, do the slap chop and get them done in literally a matter of days, then this isn't really for you. But if you are one of those hobbyists who wants to take your time and have a really cool looking army project, then this is the video for you. So, you know, smash that subscribe button if you aren't yet subscribed. So one of the first things first is what I like to do is get my codex. Get my codex or my battle tome, and I will read it multiple times and come up with lists. Now, list writing and list building is a thing that you kind of need to sort of understand, especially when you're going to be playing and sort of doing a long-term project. And this is what this essentially is, a long-term project. You're talking months, potentially into a year. My Howling Griffins are like nearly a year and a half, over a year and a half. And the army is pretty much now just getting finished. I pretty much have everything to finish it. It's just a matter of finishing everything off and then it's done. So like 18 months that's taken me. My Blood Angels are probably going to be similar, but as they're my main army, unless the Space Wolves are absolutely amazing, but we'll see. I can't see me coming off them because this is really like exciting me, this book. So one of the first things that I like to do is write a number of lists. The 10th edition is really good in that way, because you get multiple of detachments. Now, you've got the 7 detachments in the Space Marine Codex, and then you have the 3 new detachments in this book. The Dark Angels are the same. If you've got to be using one of the other chapters, like Black Templars, Space Wolves, they've only got the index right now. So you've got basically like 8. Now, what I would suggest to do is find a detachment that you like, and if you are relatively new to that army, first things first is to sort of pick one that kind of fits into the theme, the narrative, the way you want to play. So if you want to go tank heavy, you obviously want to do the sort of tanky, dreadnoughty detachment from the Space Marine Codex. I think it's like Iron Storm detachment or something. If you do want to do a lot of Terminators, Stern Guard, Vanguard, Blade Guard, you want to do that elite element of a Space Marine army, then obviously you want to do something like the First Company Veterans. If you want a detachment that sort of does a lot of everything, and sort of benefits your heavy weapons and your big tanks and big guns, or your assault element units, or your sort of tactical units, then the Gladius Strike Force is probably for you. Now, I'm going to use Space Marines as an example for this, but all of the current codexes that are out will have detachments that are basically themed around certain things. Like Chaos Space Marines, you can have like a World Eater detachment, like a close combat sort of detachment that's very much focused on that. You can have a detachment that's all about stealth and espionage and alpha legionary stuff, and you can have a detachment on that. You can have a detachment that's all about demon engines and stuff. So you've got a detachment that kind of sort of fills a niche of that army. So find which one that you like, which one fits what you want to build your list towards, and then use that detachment as your first bedrock of what you're going to do. Next, what you need to do is start looking at your core of your list, the center part of the list. Now, this is the 1,000 points that's never really going to change. This is the nucleus, the center part of your army. Doesn't matter about the other 1,000 points around it. If there's balance updates and things get up and down on points and it affects the 1,000 points core, then it's the extremity units, the other 1,000 points that goes around that will get switched out and changed. And this is the part that you're not really too worried about, because over the course of your army building and your army project, these are the units that will probably get dropped and switched and changed as things happen and new things come out or whatever. But the nucleus, the main part of your army, is going to be your sort of central point. Now, for me, with the Howling Griffins, and I made the biggest mistake on this, is I was like, my Terminators are my big thing. And I had my Terminator Captain. I built and painted the Terminator unit. And then I realized that I didn't really like how they played, and I really want Assault Terminators, and there's no new Assault Terminators yet. And I was like, ugh. And then I switched to a big block of Assault Marines with Assault Intercessors and a Captain. And went really, really like that, really, really like how that plays, really sort of fits in, hence the reason why I'm moving to Blood Angels. And was like, yes, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to play. So now, using from that mistake and moving into the next army project, I'm going to be looking at this in the simple way. Is one of the things that I'll probably be taking all the time is going to be Dante and a unit of Sanguinary Guard, right? So a big blob of 6 Sanguinary Guard with Dante. That's always going to be there in my list. Then I'm going to have a chaplain with 10 assault intercessors with jump packs. Okay, so that is the next part of my army. Now, regardless of what happens outside of that and how many points that is, that's probably going to be close to 7,000 points. You're probably going to probably bring the Sanguinor, because he's really, really good. And that is going to be sort of your nucleus, your army. The rest of the 1,000 points around that is really going to be dependent upon which detachment I'm going to play. Now, obviously, I can continually play things like the Gladius Strike Force if I really want to, but I don't really need to, because this book, and I will be doing a review on the Blood Angel Codex soon, has a detachment in this called the Liberator Assault Group, which is essentially the same as the Gladius Strike Force. But rather than like only having a run and charge once per game and then having to spend a CP on one unit, I can kind of do that all the time and get one CP on one unit all the time and still benefit from a attachment rule, which is the Red Thirst, which is pretty decent. Now, if you want to go purely jump pack and you really want to go heavy into the jump pack, then the Angelic Host is what you want, and you've got a little bit of shenanigans in regards to some movement. But the Liberator Assault Group is probably what I'm going to be building into, and that is probably what I'm going to be going ahead. So, looking at Dante, looking at my Sanguinary Guard, my Death Company element of the army, what do I then want on the outside of that? Well, I'm probably going to be looking at 3 units of intercessors on foot, assault intercessors on foot, probably one being led by a captain on foot and the other 2 being led by sanguinary priests. Reason why is those units at least will be really good, because you can essentially put a sanguinary priest into a unit that has a captain, or they can be on their own, and that then gives that unit feel no pain, which is really, really handy. And they're only 90 points. So probably looking at least 3 sanguinary priests and then at least 3. Now, that's essentially battle line. Now, if I can get all of that into my 1,000 points, then that will be the nucleus of the army. The rest of the army would then be things like tanks, dreadnoughts, drop pods, stuff like that. More Death Company, more Sanguinary Guard, or whatever. But everything that's outside of that nucleus is basically. And that's basically how you sort of go about it. And when it comes to the actual painting element of the army, sort of building and working towards it, you're building up to 1,000 point games to play. Basically, that's probably what I found over these past month or so of getting into 40k, is building up to 1,000 points and playing 1,000 point games allows me to learn the basics and allows me to learn the basics of the army. and then I can slowly build up to the 2,000 point games and the 2,000 points. But the project of building and painting and getting 1,000 points onto the table is manageable, because that 1,000 points is your nucleus. Remember, you're never really going to change that unless there's some massive drastic changes to the army. You're still pretty much going to be sitting there. So that 1,000 points is always done. The rest of the stuff is then going to be what's coming next, and slowly build out to a 2,000 point minimum, and then you'll have options on the outside of being able to swap units in and out. So for me, like, Dante is almost done. I'll be probably picking up a Vanguard box, or sorry, Combat Patrol box once they eventually come out. So that gets me my Sanguinary Guard and my first battle line unit. Outside of that, I'll probably pick up 2 boxes of Assault Jump Pack Intercessors and Lemates, and that will then give me my next nucleus, and I will slowly build and paint all of that, and that should start to give me close to my 1,000 points, and that will be giving me my core of my army, and then I will then build everything else around that. So that's kind of the way I'm going to be doing it, slowly but surely, and that's what you do. And this way it's manageable. And one of the things about long-term army projects that you'll always find you'll get is fatigue. You're painting the same thing over and over and over again, and unless you're literally fanatical about that, it can be quite hard. It can be very easily to be distracted for something else. And Games Workshop are very good at putting new things out and distracting you, you have to stay focused. All right, you have to stay on course for the plan, set yourself a goal. So I obviously want to get my Howling Griffins to a 1-dayer. I'm going to be using them during my league. I'm going to get them painted up, and then by the end of the league, hopefully my army will be fully painted, and then I'm going to go for a 1-dayer, and that'll be the final thing that they'll do, and then that'll be me. That'll be them done, and that'll be the story of my Howling Griffins over, and I'll be then fully embraced in my Blood Angels, which I'll be slowly working on in the background as well, in some of the live streams that will be going to be coming up onto the channel, which is going to be cool. So all in all, that's kind of how you sort of do it, and hopefully I think this video hopefully will be helpful for some people. You know, I think it can be a really daunting prospect when you're sitting there looking at an army and going, right, I want to do this, and I want to do it to this standard and this level, but you kind of get lost. And I've made mistakes in the past, especially with the Howling Griffins, where I bought things and started units that I'm like, why have I got these? Like, I didn't need them. Why did I do that? That's just so stupid. And now I've got units painted that I'm probably never really going to see light of day, but hey-ho, it is what it is. So now, so just to summarize, best thing to do, write a list, write the first 1,000 points and then the supporting 1,000 points, build your nucleus, and then every time you write a list, you put that 1,000 points into it, and then you just sort of build around it, all right, and then just go for it from there. But yeah, I'd love to hear everyone's views and you know, how they want to approach projects like this. And let me know. And yeah, there'll be Blood Angel content coming very, very soon. I'm going to be doing a review of this book because it's really, really good. And yeah, it's going to be awesome, and we'll be talking about a little bit more, and I will see everybody in the next video. So if you are enjoying my content, please like, subscribe, share, do all of that jazz, and yeah, we'll catch you in the next one, and I will see you later. Bye bye.